Oh, going live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live. Good evening and welcome. Chris Upton in the house. 8 people. 8 people watching. 3 likes already, and I've not said nothing controversial yet. Controversial. Chris Upton, the most controversial gun dog trainer on the planet, they reckon. Good evening, Karen from Loch Ness. Oh, I was up there last year. Did you find Ness? Have you found the hunchback Ness? I bet it's not so hot up there, Karen, is it? It's been very hot here. Good evening, Matt Crew. Lee Summers, good evening. Ryan Nolan, good evening. Andy Stead, hi. Well, it's gin and tonics tonight with ice. It has to be, doesn't it, with this weather? It has been so hot. Poor dogs, honestly, they've been panting their heads off, even in the kennels, and that's under the trees and insulated roof. It's just been so hot. There's been no wind here today. I took the dogs out this morning, and I might take them out if it's not dark at 9 o'clock for half an hour or 20 minutes. Let them have a run around because it's just been so hot. I've had to put the fan on. So if the fan is bothering you, everybody, I will switch it off. She's a little Indian girl sitting down on the floor here with one of them. She's just doing this non-stop. So if she's bothering you and she starts making too much noise, please let me know. That's not Sue, by the way. Sue's in the background. I didn't say hello, Sue. Say hello, Sue.
Good evening, everyone.
Where are you? Oh, you're there. She didn't let me on camera. Steve Page, no training for the last 2 days. Don't blame you, lads. Don't blame you. You burn them dogs' feet on that ground if you take them out on concrete. Stuart Burns, good evening. Jay Brooker, good evening. Martin Lawrence, Oliver Swift. I always say Oliver Twist. I don't know why. Sue Hughes in the house, everyone. Simon Spruce, good evening. Paul Jarvis, Steve Payson, not as Carlos. Michael McMullen, Simon Spruce. See how I always go through your name, Michael, very quickly. McLaughlin. Sue doesn't help me out at all. She doesn't say we have cooling rain in the sunny Jersey. We had rain and thunder here the other day, 3 days ago. Monday, and it blew the internet hub, it blew the socket, it blew the phone line. Just watched your latest video on Patreon with the lab and how he's becoming more balanced in the pack and also learning routine within the kennel. Yes, and he has taken a while. He's quite a sensitive dog, so you can't put too much pressure on him. At the end of the day, I'm sure we'll get there with him. He's a nice dog, nice natured dog. He's just scared of his own shadow. Sometimes you put pressure on him slightly, and he's scared of his own shadow. He's one of them dogs that you've got to nurture a little bit at this point. Nurture and just calm him down a little bit. Just calm him down. He's got a lot of drive. Question: how often do you treat your dogs, Paul Jarvis? Free treatment. We've just changed actually. We just give one tablet now that's supposed to give all that, treat all that. It's new to me, Paul, to be honest with you. So I think it's about. I think she says you do it every 4 months. The vet. I think she says you do it every 4 months. That gives worming and fleas. So and it's not cheap, but she says in the long run, it saves. What we used to do, we used to give. Drontal or Panicure, and then we used to give Frontline, Spot On. So we're not doing that. We're actually giving them the tablet that she says, and we'll see how it goes. I have found some ticks on them, where with the Spot On, don't seem to find ticks on them. Angela Mead, question: can you explain the difference between hard hunting and a soft dog? Well, when we say hard hunting, it means it's a determined dog. It puts its head down and it really, really wants to hunt. When we say a soft dog, that could be temperament. I wouldn't say a soft hunting dog. You would say a hard hunting dog or a mid-paced dog. You wouldn't say a soft hunting dog. More of what we would say is a mid-paced dog or a non-hunter, really, like a dog that doesn't really want to hunt. We got to G up. Do you know what? It looks like I've got wet hair, doesn't it? That's because we just had dinner. Honestly, it looks like my hair's falling out, isn't it? I got less hair than Andy Stead from Jersey. Ain't no good, is it? I'm not looking so good. Have you got a hat suit? What if I put something on my ears? Will that take people's mind off looking at my hair? Honestly, I'm getting vain at my old age. I might have to go down and see the hairdresser. As you can see, I've not really been looking after myself in the last few days. It's been too hot. Would that come down from breeding or training or both? It could be both. It could be in the breeding. It could be in the training. I mean, it's easy to turn dogs on with hunting, most dogs, but you do get the odd dog that's not really interested in hunting. But it's easy to turn the hunting on. But the difficult thing is if you don't get the retrieving into them, and that's a fine example of the two dogs that I've had in with Jay's dog and Darcy. Have you been watching the Darcy videos on Patreon? Isn't she coming on so much better now? Isn't she more focused? Isn't she keener to please? It's tapping into it. It just takes longer to wash your face, Chris. What, when you got no hair? Is that what he means?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, because, yeah, you're thinking about it, yeah. I got it now, Simon, yeah. I used to have to check Dougie's ears all the time because of some reason. He loves long grass. Bloody dog. Yeah, keep him out of the bloody long grass. Yeah, I check his ears. Sometimes I think he's deaf. Now he's getting better. He's definitely getting better. It's just hard work. It's slow, but we're giving him every chance. That's the whole point. And what you've got to understand, Jay, although we were using live pigeons, and I can't put those videos up because you'll get some people editing it and criticizing about it and saying that we were abusing the pigeons. We weren't abusing the pigeons. The pigeons were okay. The pigeons flew off and everything was fine, but I just can't put it up, unfortunately. I'd love to. Years ago you could do it. They do it in America. You see it in America where they use live birds, but at the end of the day, in today's society, it's just best not to put it up. As simple as that. It's not that we say we don't use it, and we do use it. We do use it, but we don't use it on a regular basis. As I've got older, I've got more compassionate about things in life. But sometimes when you've got a dog in that situation, then you've got to G him up a little bit. Like, so at the end of the day, it's one of them things that we have to do. We can talk about it, but I can't show it, unfortunately. It's one of them things. If people ask me questions about it, I can answer the questions, but I can't really put up the videos because they'll just edit them. They'll edit them and put them and try and manipulate the truth. So that's an unfortunate thing about that. Good evening, Christopher. How are you? I don't have a balance pack to help socialize my pup, but can you suggest other ways to assist without putting bad habits into bad habits like doggy daycare? Thanks. I would stay well away from doggy daycare. Doggy daycare and these parks where they let dogs socialize with each other. There is no need for that. There is no need for it. Today's society says that the dog's got to say hello to other dogs, and people's dogs run up to your dogs. He's only saying hello. Yeah, keep it on the lead. You've got no control. Take it away, please. But at the end of the day, not everybody has got that same mindset. Some people just think it's a fur baby and it just wants to come across and say hello. And those dogs are the dogs that once they get into a scrap, it changes the mindset of them completely, and then they can't control them at all. But I just keep away from them sorts of people, really, to be honest with you. We were out the other day and we had exactly the same situation happen. I was out with 4 dogs, Rafa being one of them, and I was hunting the dogs, let them have a run in the woods because it was cooler. Turn around and put them back in the car, and there's a woman there with 3 dogs all out of control running up to us. The dogs, as soon as I went back to the truck and opened the back of the truck, the dogs couldn't get in quick enough. They're not there to socialize. They just love the work. They love the training. They love being with me, and the focus is on me. So it was great. It was no problem. But it could have broken into a problem if then dogs are kicking off with my dogs and I'm jumping in there. I'm currently fostering a part-trained cocker. The previous owner say he worked for 2 seasons, doesn't seem to know much. Can it take a while for a dog to start listening to a new owner? Yes, it can take a dog a little while to listen to a new owner. And the problem is if you go in there and use discipline with a young dog, a new dog, 2 years old, 2 seasons, and you start using discipline, you can frighten that dog straight away, especially if it's never had that. At the end of the day, you've got to build a dog up to understanding how to turn pressure off, how to cope with discipline and pressure. David Burns, evening all bloody melting. Enjoy the early mornings. I'm in the woods to myself. Exactly, David. Absolutely, isn't it? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's I don't know if I've known it this hot. This is the glorious 12th too, guys. Soon be October. Just to let you all know, if you haven't read the top of the feed, Karen is at Loch Ness at the moment. I think camping, fishing, naked, sunbathing. Honestly, the man's an animal. The man's an animal. He's gone back to nature. He'll come back with a beard next week. I would think the best way to socialize a dog is to hunt with others.
Michael come back said it's a young pup, so I don't think that's a good idea. He just wonders how he can socialise without doggy later.
Who? Paul.
Yeah.
Paul wants to socialize without doggy daycare.
Yeah,
You don't need doggy daycare.
yeah, so how does can you suggest other ways to assist without hurting
Well,
bad habits?
Well, if you don't put your dog with other dogs, Paul, you haven't got a problem. So people are obsessed with socializing dogs. When I say socializing, I've got a pack, and so they have to integrate with the pack, and they have to learn to get on with each other. But if you've only got one dog, keep it away from other dogs. That's the best way. If you've got a dog that's a little bit assertive towards other dogs, then you could think to yourself, well, I've got to get it out with other dogs. We'll find someone who hasn't got other dogs that are assertive, but they'll stand their ground, and go in there with the long line and work the dog on the long line and keep the dog and give the dog a check on the long line if the dog goes to react. You stop it before it happens. You don't correct it afterwards. That's too late. You've got to stop it as it escalates, as it starts to come up. As soon as the dog goes into that state of arousal or that state of looking at the other dog and push the gesture of what it wants to do, that's when you correct, and that's when you turn and move away. And socialization is not what perhaps people want, what people think. Socialization with a pack of dogs is because I have a pack of dogs and I have the advantage of that. So, for instance, Dougie went out and grabbed hold of a spaniel by the back of the neck, and then instantly went, "Oh shit, I shouldn't be doing this," and let him go. And I went, "Oi," and the dog just let go. At the end of the day, I didn't need to correct because he didn't carry on, but you still have to watch that behavior, because a big dog like him, if he does that with another big dog, the big dog, well, even Rafa would turn and have him if he tried to dominate Rafa, because it's not always the big ones, it's the hard ones. But he's just big and gangly, and he just tries to be a slight bully. But he's so much better than he was, so much better. He just get himself into trouble before because he didn't know when to moderate himself and when to control himself. But now he's got that free-flowing spirit that he's running and he's having fun with the other dogs, and that's what the Labrador. The Labrador, to begin with, he wasn't aggressive, nasty Labrador, but he could have got himself into trouble because he was fearful, so he was being assertive, and his hackles were up, and he was trying to back other dogs off. Well, he doesn't need to in this situation, so he'll learn through that. But to be honest with you, Paul, people make too much of this socialization. I've got to socialize my pup. No, keep it away from other dogs. If you've only got one or you've only got two, keep your dogs away from other dogs. Your dogs don't need to go and socialize with other dogs. My dogs don't socialize with other dogs. My dogs are taught to be with me. And that's really important. It's an important factor of why we don't socialize. These dog parks are the worst things. It just creates problems with other dogs, because you could have the nicest dog, the nicest temperament of a dog in these dog parks, and he gets nailed by some dog, some little dog or big dog, and he has to fight back because he fears for his life. Guess what? You'll change the mindset of that dog, and then he'll become aggressive to every other dog that comes near him because he had a bad experience. The idea is dogs don't need to say hello, humans do. There you go. That's exactly it.
When you had your first dog, you kept it to itself, didn't you? And he was all right, wasn't he? He grew up.
I think if I'm right, Paul, I may be wrong. If your dog's more show-like cockers with looks, I'm not 100% sure. But I've seen some cockers recently of somebody's, and I thought they look more like show dogs. Dead right there, Kieran. All humans feel the need to. William George Webb, socialize exposure. Best way to use the dog park is work around it using the exposure, but the dogs can't get to yours. Exactly. Keep them outside the dog park and teach your dog to switch off and not lunge on the lead and and just accept that. But down here, we haven't got that many dog parks, but we've got many places where people socialize dogs in certain areas where everybody meets up and everyone has a good ding-dong talk with each other. And I just see so many dog fights and so many dogs running off and causing chaos. It's unbelievable. And there you go. Even Sue's getting involved now. She should have wrote that. Could you please write that, Susan, please? She loves talking about dog poo and pee. Her favourite subject.
My fingers are too hot. You can just say it.
Oh, she said her fingers are too hot. I can't wait for tonight. Honestly, she's on fire tonight, lads. Honestly, and girls, honestly, she's on fire. Shall I show you a picture of her? She's sitting there, braless. Is she? I don't know. I can't see that far with these glasses. Yep. Dogs are fight clubs. Exactly. Fight clubs. Angela Mead. Ignorant dog owners too at these dog parks. Tell me about it. More gin, Sue. Stop it, Paul Jarvis. Honestly. More gin for me, he means, doesn't he? He means for me. So anybody got any more questions? Any more questions on here? Evening. Everyone, dog has done that one. Paul Cock has done that one. Jay Cock has done that one. Come on, you've got to throw some questions at me. I'll tell you what happened on the Patreon. I don't know. Some of you guys were on the Patreon and that. The first hour was slow. I was asking for questions. They weren't coming. I was having to just waffle a little bit, and then we had the two guys on, and I just thought that last hour was absolutely fantastic. I think when people come on and explain their story and explain how they've got themselves to the situation they have, I think it shows so much. It helps so many. These summers, I have had my bitch say up front on the eye contact with another dog barking at her, but she never batted an eyelid. And the other dog owner came up to me and commented how trained she was. Yep, exactly, Lee. Exactly. Exactly, Lee. Good comment there. Michael Warren. Chris, do you think the shooting calendar could be changed due to the climate now starting in November to end in March? I think that would be a great idea, Malcolm. I think we seem to get in Indian summers, don't we? And I think that sometimes it's too soon. And then I think it ends so quick, doesn't it, when the weather starts to get better. But I don't think last year or the year before down in Cornwall, I think if we'd had two frosts all winter, that's all we probably had. It was that mild. What age do you introduce the whistle to a young dog? Loved the Sunday evening format recently. Thank you, Angela. You can start using the whistle at any age with the dog, even when they're like youngsters and they're feeding. You can. I mean, I use this noise, right, and that means there's food. Like at the end of the day, you can use the whistle, pip, 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 and you feed them and they follow you, and they follow you around the yard, then they follow you around the field. You can teach a young dog so many things at a young age. All I'm saying is don't put too much pressure on them. Some dogs want to train and some dogs don't want to train, but if you put too much training into them, you make them what we call under-reliant. And then if you allow them to go wild, then you'll have to be a little bit firmer to bring them back. But the idea is, if you've already introduced the gameplay and made it gameplay, it will come into it really good. I do that noise with my horses. G up, Neddy. Get on. What, when you want to hunt? When you want to open up? Or just follow them around the yard, follow you. Do you know, me and horses don't get on. Do you know why? Because I'm so big. They put me on the biggest freaking horse in the world every time I've ever gone horse riding. And it's like freaking the ground is a long, long way down. And they haven't got air brakes. I love vehicles with air brakes. And they seem to find me the biggest horse. And I may be big, but my legs aren't that long. And it looks a long way down. And so I think some of you girls have got more bottle than me. Things you must have stronger inner thighs than me. That's all I can say. Well, I can vouch for that on some of you girls. Some of you girls. Okay, so all right, Simon Spruce, are you happy with your mule, Chris? It looks a good tool, that. I'm happy with the fact that it does 45 miles an hour. So if I'm on the road and it's a 30-mile-an-hour or 40-mile-an-hour road, I can keep up with the most of the traffic and not hold it up. Where the other one used to only do 25. But as they say, everything that glitters is not gold. It's like me now taking on the 22-year-old girl. The thought of it would be great, but I'd have to retrain her, wouldn't I? I'd have to re-educate her what I wanted her to do. So I might. It's like sometimes I feel like trading Sue in for a new model. But the idea is, right, I know that I'd have hassle for a number of months. But I mean, Sue's warranty ran out years and years ago, but she's quite reliable, really. So would I really want to get rid of her? Not really. I tell you what, that's what keeps a marriage together. Humour.
Good luck on trying to retrain a 22-year-old. You got no chance.
Hear that? Good luck trying to train a 22-year-old. It would be fun. What if we had you and the 22-year-old? Put one against the other. Now, you can't beat experience. Oh, stop it, Paul. You're now being rude. You're now getting personal. Mourner's mate. Chris, you talk about not putting the stop on the dog too young. Could you let me know exactly what you mean by the stop? The sit. The stop. The sit. So I don't. Now the sit comes with the tennis game that I show you. And that's the sit. The dog makes that decision itself to park its arse before the game continues. But the stop means stay there, don't move till told. The sit is introduced and it's the start of the stop. So we build it up in stages. It's as simple as that. So that's what I mean. And the reason we don't put it on too soon, because some dogs you'll dry them up. Other dogs you need to let them have more desire and drive before putting the stop on. And so it's not a science that you can say 8 months, put the stop on every dog. But some dogs come here and I go, put the stop on that dog now. That's got enough drive, that dog has got plenty of drive. And when I say drive, desire to retrieve, desire to race out and race back. And it wants to play the game. And a dog reaches about 12 months of age. And if you don't do too much with it, it'll then start to look at you. And you can see in its eye that it says, I want more. That's the time to train. Not everybody can read that from the dog, but the dog actually says to you visually, I want more. And that's the time to train. And that's when the dog learning process can really move forward. I see so many people putting the dogs on. Katie Maddox, how do you progress with toilet training? Praise when outside and click and treat. Doing okay, but the occasional accident. Katie, they're obviously still young dogs. You wouldn't expect them not to have the odd accident. I don't click and treat myself. Years ago, when we used to have dogs in the house, we used to put out newspaper all around the kitchen, and then we just reduced the newspaper to one piece at the back of the door, so the pups would mess on the newspaper, and then we'd gradually take another piece away. So eventually, it was just one piece outside, and then we'd move one piece outside, and they'd mess on that. And then we could move it down the garden as well. That's how we used to do it. But taking the dog out on a regular basis is really good. But in this weather, you'll find that a lot of pups will get excited in this heat, and they will mess and pee with excitement and slight stress as well. Peter Taylor's in the house. Good evening, Chris. From a bit of
question.
Hang on. I was reading. Honestly, interruptions by my darling wife is unbelievable. I'm going back up, right? I'm coming up to come down. Okay, Peter, you have to wait. Sue said you have to wait. Okay. I mean, what age do you introduce the whistle to? Done that one. Evening, Chris and Sue from Jack Lindsay. Done that one. I do that. Noisy also has done that one. Any tips on adjusting a cocker from picking up every day of the season to a bit of beating? Well, Jack, your dog should automatically be able to go hunting with you. If you've only trained it to sit, stay, and retrieve, then you're going to have to retrain it to beat, to go in the beating line. But your beating line is nothing but your hunting. So your dog in the hunting line, every time that something takes off, you must blow the stop whistle, and the dog must stop. I don't expect the dog to stop automatically. Not straight away. Once it's about 3 years old, I'd expect it to stop automatically if it flushes. But up to that, it's repetition, repetition, repetition. Blow the stop whistle every time the bird flushes. If there's a shot in the background and you hear a shot in the background, the dog's doesn't need to stop, but he needs to stop on every flush. So every flush you have, the dog stops. Don't let the dog take in too much ground, and start to work the dog away at the end of the beat. So if you've got the keeper there, say, can I work at the end so you not see so many birds? Normally in the middle of the beat you see more birds, but it all depends on what shoots you're on. If you're on these little shoots, sometimes you're out doing the hedges and it's a great time to get the dog hunting, but I like to get a pattern into the dog before I go just picking up. The dog's got to be a hunting dog as well as a picking up dog, and that's the way I do it. So you can change it, you can change it around, but you have to educate the dog with the hunting where you want it to hunt within reason. The problem is some picking up dogs are well trained to a very high standard. Other picking up dogs are just sent at the end of the drive, and they just open up and take in so much ground that they're actually making a rod for your own back, because they're learning to run around the chute like headless chickens until they come across a bird. The idea is, if you're running dogs in competition, yes, you want to go picking up, yes, you want to go beating, but you can't afford to let that dog just do what it wants, because then that dog's going to do exactly what it wants when you're on a trial. So there's a balance between having a controlled dog, a well-trained dog, and a working dog. But the working dogs, if it's not going to work in the field, then I wouldn't be trialing it. It's as simple as that. I think dogs should work in the field before you trial them. That proves to you that they're sound, and then you can go trialing and show them off, and people say, wow, that guy can train dogs to a very high standard. Okay, any tips on changing the diet to increase conditioning for your hunting season? I know you use CSJ, but do you add fish or supplements? We've got salmon CP21 that is a lot higher in protein, and it's got salmon oil, and it's a better food for when you're working the dogs really hard. But I find that champ is a good food, but sometimes I put a little bit of salmon oil in it, and I do like to give raw bones as well, and I let them have raw bones. I let them have beef bones. I don't let them have marrow bones quite so much, other than we will push the marrow out of the bone and let the dogs have the marrow, because we don't want to chip teeth on the dog. So I don't use the big the end joints, but I like to use the ribs. I like, because they're quite edible. The dogs can eat so much of them and chew into them, so it's good for them. And they've got a bit of meat on them as well. So I like to use the rib bones, the beef rib bones for the dogs. Mounters, mate. Chris, you talk about not putting the stop there. We've done that one. You can't beat experience. Done that one. How do you progress with towards? Done that one. Angela Mead, how long has Darcy been with you now? She's really coming on nicely. She's been with me 6 weeks, I think. 6 weeks. She's here for 10 weeks. So she's got another. She may have 3 weeks left. It is maybe the 7th week. She may have 3 weeks left. I'm just doing my best with her to get her. She's a different bitch, and I'm really pleased with the progress. Did you see the one with the thunder in the rabbit pen with her, where she was slightly worried about the shot? I'm not saying she's over the shot completely, because I haven't had a chance to do that again. It's just that we're building up to it. Yesterday, that video you saw where she was retrieving out in the yard, I had the Bose speakers on the table. I was having a glass of wine as it was cooling down, and I had Prince doing Whole Lot of Love on the guitar, and really it was blasting out, and I was getting her to retrieve with that sound in the background, so she get used to the noise and the different sounds of noise. And that's why I did a voiceover with it rather than just put it up, because I might get done for copyright. You know what me and copyright's like, don't you? And the fact that I wanted to voice over to show you what I was doing. So she was retrieving with all that sound of blasting out. It was like a DJ's rave. Please, can you read my question, Chris?
We've done it. That was Jack.
We've done it, have we? Okay. Matt Crew, what age experience would you send a dog for a runner? As soon as I've trained it and it's ready to go on a shoot, or I'm shooting over it. Matt. If you've got a young dog and you've got good steadiness, you can always send it a little bit quicker, because if you shoot a bird and you know it's going to be a runner, send the dog and let it have that runner, let it have the fun of that runner. What you don't want is that bird to spike that dog with it. You know, some birds are strong runners and will do that to a young dog. That can put a young dog off. But all young dogs have got to learn to carry a runner or get onto a runner and pin it down and drag it back. And some of them do it as if they've done thousands, and others, you know, will lose it. It will run again. They'll get onto it again. It excites them. But once they've had a few runners, they know not to let them go. Trust me, they'll hold on to them. Incontinence pads, really absorbent pads. Yeah, but Kate, this is mostly working dogs on here, working gun dogs, and I've not come across many dogs, working dogs that they use pads on them personally, but they do in America. They do in America quite a bit. Katie, are you saying that puppies wear them? Thanks so much for that, Chris. No problem, Jack. Angela Mead, yes, I did, and such a different dog. Well done. Michael, Darcy's owner will be over the moon with the progress night and day. Well done. Patreon specials. If you're not on it, you're missing out. Thank you very much. That's true, but not everybody wants to pay for it. Isn't it funny? I had 7,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we seem to be going up and down. We seem to get 270 and then back down to 260. Some drop off and then some more come on. So we're on the sort of 260 mark with Patreon members. Isn't it funny that we had 7,000 subscribers because it was free, and we had so many views. Each video was getting 1,000 views. Now the people who are actually gaining are the Patreon people, because there's, like I say, 260 of you, and I'm entertaining 260 of you and teaching 260 of you. At the end of the day, it seems a waste, really, doesn't it, when we could hit so many people on YouTube and show them how to train dogs, and we were getting more of a following. But the way YouTube's treated me, and you know what, we've still not had hardly any feedback at all from YouTube about the 5,500 videos on there that we're trying to retrieve. They are absolutely useless. Now they keep blaming all this virus thing, and they're not running as many staff and all this. And I'm still waiting for the people who are helping me out to come back to me and tell me any good hope, any good news. But unfortunately, they're not. Like, okay, Irish football, Chris. My Labrador is just 14 pups. Do you think it's a big litter? Yes, it is. But some of them are fantastic at looking after them. Some are absolutely fantastic looking at them. Don't think big litters won't be looked after. You'll be amazed. I've had 5s and 6s and they've sat on too. They've just been absolutely useless. Paul Jarvis, how is Ray coming on? Ray's not speaking to me very much at the moment. I've seen a couple of posts out there, and I've sent him a couple of messages, and he did say next week hopefully he's going to feel a little bit better and try and get up and do a few things. But I've just not putting any pressure on Ray at all. When Ray's ready, Ray's ready. It's down to Ray. He's not a young chap, and I wish him all the best. And I don't know whether it became too much for him, but the illness has taken a time to recover, and I just wish him all well. Lucy, question: how much is a spaniel pup from you, Christopher? Lucy, the last spaniel pups that I just sold were £500 each, except the last one I sold, and I sold that one for 700 because I wanted to keep that one. But at the end of the day, it wasn't as if I was ripping someone off. It was the fact that I wanted to keep it, and that was the price of that pup, because it means I've got to have another litter now and then keep another 2 back off that litter, and it's just time and consuming and hassle. But they were desperate for a pup, and I give them the price, and that's what they paid. I don't think I ripped them off, but I think I was too cheap with £500, because I think looking around at everybody's prices, it's gone absolutely stupid. So when I went to my vets, and we paid all the fees to the vet, I said to the vet, and she said, you're selling them far too cheap. And I don't have pups just to make money on, if you know what I mean. I have the pups to breed a couple myself for the next line generation. and like I say, 500 is a great price, but next time they're going to be £600. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. They've got to be £600 because I could have sold 20. I could have sold 20. I had people not fighting over them, but begging me for them in the end. And at the end of the day, I don't believe that pups are worth the money that people are asking. I mean, I've just been asking for a border terrier for Sue, and I was doing it on the quiet. I was trying to get her a border terrier because she said she'd always loved a border terrier. She's always said that. So I was going to buy a border terrier, and so I spoke to a friend of mine, and they said, I'll put you onto this lady like who breeds them. They want £2,000 each for them. Border terriers, for Christ's sake. At the end of the day, Chris, I haven't seen any of Karen Pride clicker training. If you ever watch hang on, this I don't know if this is a joke or what. Not so, Chris, have you seen any of Karen Pride's clicker training? If you have, what's your view? Is it possible to incorporate clicker into hunting? There is the few trainers out there in the Gundog world who say that they use clicker training and treat training, and they get fantastic results. And they never use any negative punishment, and yet other people have told me they've actually seen them, witnessed them using negative punishment. So I can't really comment on Karen Pryor other than I don't rate Karen Pryor myself. Karen Pryor was never a well, the best person you can listen to there, not Tables Carlos, is Gary Wilkes. Gary Wilkes used to train with Karen Pryor. He used to do demonstration seminars with Karen Pryor. He used to be into clicker training. He still does clicker training. He's doing it with pets. She does it with pets. She's not been a gun dog trainer with that. If there's a video out there of her getting a dog humping her leg, a bitch humping her leg, and she says that builds a bond between you and the dog. I mean, if that's what you got to do, I'm sorry. But it's like not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea. You could get a border terrier in Ireland for £100. Exactly, Irish footballer. Here comes the rain. It's arriving.
Got a couple of days off. We're on our way.
I was willing to pay about 500 quid for a border terrier for Sue, but I am paying a penny more. And to be honest with you, I don't think it should be £500. To be honest with you, but Adderley Dog Training, miss all the YouTube. Adderley Dog Training, miss all the YouTube videos. So subscribe to Patreon today. Oh, you get the lost ones back. Thank you very much indeed, Adderley Dog Training. It's a real shame because I'm a gun dog trainer, and I was picking up a following from so many other trainers because they were realizing that they've been led down that road of clicker, positive only, and with a little bit of balance, a little bit of discipline, a little bit of correction, knowing when to use correction, knowing how to tap into the fun-based training that we are so renowned for. Well, I'm renowned for. 95% of my training is fun-based. Yes, I pissed off some of the positive only trainers, but you have to live with that. When you put your head above the parapet, you have to accept that you've got people out there who are going to rubbish you, going to knock you. You have to live with it, but forget it, move on. And so by keep putting up the videos tell the story. If I moved the videos from Patreon back over to YouTube, I would get that following back very, very quickly. But the thing is, I'm only using YouTube now, unfortunately, as a teaser to get people to come across to Patreon. And if they're not willing to pay, it's £6 a month because you pay, it's £5 a month I get, and there's £1 tax and the admin fee for them or something. So you pay £6 a month to learn how to train a dog to a very high standard. Whether you want a competition dog, whether you want a nice little shooting dog, whether you want a pet that's going to listen to you. And I use so many tools in my toolbox. I talk about these subjects that other trainers don't talk about. And I flick through the internet all the time looking for, have any other black cabs pulled up the drive? No, Bill. How are you doing, boy?
Yeah, he said what happened to our black cab video, Chris? Did the lefties have it taken?
Yeah, the lefties had it taken. I mean, it's disgraceful because YouTube are a law unto themselves. And it's a shame because they've got such a good platform that if they just concentrated on customer service for people who are on there. Yes, I may have gone commercial, but I didn't want to go commercial on YouTube because I wanted to build up a massive following. So I was building up an army, if you know what I mean, of followers that were saying, you can go on there. This guy talks about the right subjects. He's passionate what he does. He shows you his dogs. He shows you customers' dogs. He shows you how he turns people around and the dogs round. And it got too big. And when these things get too big, what happens is people get jealous. And that Peter Kane got jealous because he was not the dog trainer on the internet putting up the most videos. I'd overtaken him. And he just got jealous. And he turned against me. And they never even looked into it. They just banned me straight away and took the videos down on copyright infringement instead of checking the facts and seeing that I had proof that he said I could share it. He said he'd share my videos, and I said to him 4 years ago I would share my videos. I would put his videos up to promote him. And then he went over to this Yeti thing and Bigfoot and he went away from the dog training videos, and I didn't watch him so much. I knew he was there because he was putting up video after video, but I unsubscribed from him. And I think he got the hump because he thought, Kev Fielding's in the house. Hello, Kev. All right, boy. He wasn't good until I started to watch you in using training. Now he's perfect gun dog. No thanks to the clickers. Thank you, Lucy. That's really nice of you. Clicker is a bunch of bullshit. My spaniel was trained with that. He wasn't reliable at all. He was 2 years old when I got him. Was told he fully trained for gun dog. A bunch of lies. Exactly, Lucy. And that's the problem. And at the end of the day, my method works. There's no. You can't get around that my method works. You might not like my method. That doesn't mean you've got to do it. That man's a Fruit Loop. Tell me about it, Kieran. He's gone slightly freaking mad. Now I think the internet can change people a bit like drugs. Some people can cope with drugs and not have any bad effects, and other people, have real side effects with drugs. And I think it's the same scenario. Is I've been off the internet for 3 days, other than my phone. My phone is 4G or whatever, and I could see the internet on there, but I couldn't do any videos. I couldn't read your emails other than on my phone. Everything was on the phone. And so where I sit on a computer screen like this, or I sit on my iPad didn't work because that's logged into the router. Netflix, YouTube films, all YouTube that I watch, more YouTube clips than anything on the telly and stuff like that. I couldn't watch any of that because it's all rigged with modern technology that's all linked. I had withdrawal symptoms. I've got to confess, I was having withdrawal symptoms. Now, I don't crave for, I could stop drinking, I've stopped smoking, I could stop drinking, I haven't got any vices that I couldn't stop, except sex.
Oh, my hands were together then. Brilliant.
Sue was praying. She was going to say, okay, Chris, I got you on that one. You said you could stop anything. So anyway, what I'm saying is I was having withdrawal symptoms because you get so used to being on the internet and actually watching stuff. And I don't watch much terrestrial TV these days. I watch everything through the internet. It's unbelievable. And if you want to Google something, you just Google it on your iPad, didn't you? I picked the iPad up. How many times I picked the iPad up? Couldn't do it. Couldn't do banking on the iPad because it's all linked to the Home Hub. And while the Home Hub blew up, it was literally hard work. Did I tell you Kev's booked in for October, Sue?
No.
Yeah, Kev's booked in for 4 days in October.
Oh, okay.
Coming down in October. It'd be nice to see him. Kevin, I don't know. Oh, that's it. Sue's asking about your leg. He's still got 2, I think.
Yeah, he's still open.
So going back to Lucy, where she's talking about clicker training is a bunch of BS. I don't think it is in the pet world if you don't overdo it. I think if you use it, you can teach the dog so many things that what we don't want in the gun dog world, you could teach some of it. And that's why I've incorporated some food training on the odd occasion to show you how I change a mindset and then build on it. I build on that and then drop it off. And some people say, well, you should not drop it off. You shouldn't drop food off completely because it has a better effect if you give it now and again because it makes them work harder for it. Because they anticipate it if it comes all the time. So sometimes you don't give it, and sometimes you do give it, and it's all to do with psychology. It's all to do with the mind. Have you heard from Daniel Quinn, Chris? Wonder if he's getting on. Funny enough, Daniel's not been in touch for a good few months, Simon, and I think he's had a change of mind. It's as simple as that. But he's never actually contacted me and said anything. I just not seen many feeds of with his dog. He's been doing his DJing, and I think he's had a change of mind. And I know his missus got moved forward to go into hospital and work in the hospitals from university a year early or something, so she could become a nurse. And I think that might have made a difference. I don't know. So I've answered it as honestly as I can. We never fallen out. He just perhaps had a change of heart, you know. Spencer, evening, Chris. We talk about protecting dogs from heat all the time from heat all the time in training. How would you prefer your dogs and manage them on a hot day like today, or out on a grouse moor? Oh, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't fancy that at all, Spencer, to be honest with you. It's an awkward situation, isn't it? You'd have to carry water with you all the time, and you'd have to watch that dog like crazy. I've had to walk off the moor carrying dogs in the past, and it's not a nice situation when the exhaustion kicks in. So you've just got to be so careful. But there is a lot more standing around, isn't there, on the moor? At certain points, it depends what you're doing. If you're a flag man, you're standing up there and just. But at the end of the day, it's hard work going across the moors with your dogs. If they've got to have long legs anyway, doesn't it, to help them? If they've got short legs and it's a really hot day, it can be terrible. What my advice is, don't take the dog out on that day. You go out, you know, and unfortunately there comes a point where you've got to think about the animal, isn't there? The husbandry. You've got to think about the animal. So I honestly don't know, but once it's all been organized, it's an awkward situation. I do understand that. Come on then. I've heard a trick of the honey in the bottom of the bowl to get them gulping the water down. Well, the honey would be sweetener, wouldn't it? So it would give them a bit of energy as well. It could be. I never heard of that myself, Spencer. So perhaps that might help people if that's the case. But other people might come up on that. I've only ever been on the grouse moors twice in my life. I've been up there once with a dog. I got invited up there, and when the Queen was up there and all the entourage from Sandringham was there, and I thought brilliant, because all the shoots I go on, we mingle with the guns to a certain extent because we're picking up, and I was told that if we invite, so I raced up there, and I was that far away from the fucking Queen and the vehicles. You could see the vehicles come in, and all the keepers and all the transport and the security around them. But you know, average Joes like me was allowed nowhere near them. Absolutely nowhere near them. We were miles up on the top of the hill. It was a great experience, as in watching the moor. But and the other time is I went up there counting grouse. The experience of counting grouse, that was great. Looking for grouse shit, the viscosity and how fresh it was. Counting grouse up on the moor, and we saw about 6 all day, and it was friggin' hard work, trust me. But another thing that I enjoyed, I did, but it's not one of them things that I would race up there now at my age. But I've never been in a grouse butt shooting. No one's invited me into a grouse butt shooting. No problem at all. Bill Lewis, still yet to see any of your positive gang upload any videos of problem dogs. Only you and Danny Wellesley. So carry on. Exactly, Bill. Exactly. I mean, Danny speaks his mind, and I think that we have to stand up to these people, but it's how we do it, isn't it? And at the end of the day, am I getting more diplomatic as I'm getting older? Nah. Peter Taylor, hi Chris. Just sent you a video of Harley with a tennis racket and starting gun. What? Tennis racket in one hand, in one paw, and a starting pistol in the other? Or was that you, Peter? Are you back from holiday yet? Are you back? Right, I'll watch that video and I'll give you a view back on it on what's the situation. Any more questions? Come on, let's fire away the questions. You've got 49 minutes and 34 seconds, 63 people in the house, 18 thumbs up, you type Barcelonian bargain hunters. You could see that as 18. Let's see if we can get it to 25, can we please? Let's see if we can get it to 25. You know, I've got to beg. You know, you've got to beg these days. just to get the thumbs up. Isn't it funny? I put a video up the other day of sunflowers. I came through to one of the drives where I was going to see a keeper, and the sunflowers, and the sun was on them, beautiful. And so I pulled over and I took a video of these sunflowers, and it just looks stunning. And you know, isn't it wonderful? People don't realize when they don't get out in the countryside like we do, and what we see all year round, isn't it? And the changing seasons and that. And it was too hot to hunt the dogs, other than give them a swim. But I had dogs in the back, so I pulled over and I did a video of it, and I came back. And someone wrote me a nasty fucking comment, so I just put up this sunflower video, and this is to all the haters out there. And I bet you put a thumbs down to that, and we got 2 thumbs down. Aren't they sad? Aren't they? What, of freaking sunflowers? Who wouldn't like sunflowers? Hey, you get sunflower oil from sunflowers, don't you? I'm a townie. Okay. How much would it cost to import from the UK to the US, and how many pounds would it be? Lucy, trust me, it's a nightmare. I've used to do it. It's a nightmare. I as soon as I have a litter, Lucy, I could sell them absolutely no problem here, and that's the problem. I was put into a situation where every dog I could train, I could ship out to America. I had 2 or 3 people who were buying my dogs off me as fast as I could train them. Then I got hold of a guy from Texas who was saying, find me as many dogs as you can, I'll buy them. And he wanted them shipped out there. Then you find him a dog that's had a couple of awards in trials, and the guy's struggling because it's a hard hunting dog. He liked hard hunting dogs. And then he say to me, and I won't mention his name because I don't want to, you know, I'm still friends with the guy. And then he say to me, find me hard hunting dogs. Find me hard hunting dogs. Dogs that are pulling them and opening up and hunting too much for the UK. So I find him a dog. Was a good hunting dog, and it had a couple of awards, but he couldn't win with it because he was pulling him all over the place. Next minute, he comes back. He said that dog is going blind. I said, what do you mean it's going blind? He said, it's going blind. I've been ripped off. I said, well, hang on. You've not been ripped off, because you could have had the test done if you wanted the test done. You've had every test done that you want done, but you didn't get that one done. We have now because the owner wanted it done, and the dog's going blind. I said, well, I didn't know the dog was going blind. And so then you get into an argument of you've got to go back to the owner, the guy you bought the dog from, and he says, too tough, mate, you bought the dog from me. I didn't know I had anything wrong with it. I never had it eye tested, and vice versa. Then you get problems and you're the middleman. So I just thought, I can't be bothered with that. So it's just not worth the hassle, trust me. So I don't sell other people's dogs to other people, because if I sell a dog to someone and it's not right, I want it to be right. So that's what I do. I go out of my way to make things right. That's why I've been doing this for 35 years. There is horrible people out there who try and ruin your business and ruin you, but there's nobody out there that I've done over, turned over, ripped off. There is no one out there that I've done that to. So no one can come and give me that such rubbish, because to me, it's important about my character, about me as a person. My integrity, as Susan says, my integrity. And my integrity is more important. If you're not happy with a dog, talk to me. Chris, how do I get my 20-month-old Lee? Hi, Chris. How do I get a 20-month-old very keen bitch to switch off and calm down when in the back garden? She always hunts my garden over and over. Any advice would be much appreciated. Keep her out your garden, Lee. Simple as that. Keep her out the garden until she matures up and she gets older. You know, if you put the dog in the garden, it's hunting the garden out. Keep it out of the garden, and start to walk it a little bit more on the lead, and get some 20-month-olds. Start to put some discipline into the dog, and as you put more discipline into the dog and advanced training, the dog will calm down, and then you can teach the dog to hunt when you click your fingers or cast it off with that. Right, so that's what I would do. Don't want the dog tested. I trust you. I just want a dog from you because I know the quality. It's not that so much, Lucy. It's like then I got to the stage where I was having to take dogs to Gatwick Airport. So you have to go to Gatwick. You have to stay in accommodation overnight to get the plane out very early in the morning so you don't miss it. You've got 3 dogs in the back of the car. You take the dogs in on the terminal. You then got to get them out to America. So it's all to do with shipping and cost and all that. And it's so much cheaper to take them as what we call hand luggage. So we used to take them as what we call hand luggage. So they would take them off you at the check-in desk, and then they'd hand them back to you as soon as you got to the airport. Where if you go cargo, it was another $1,000 or something like that. It's just not worth the hassle for me these days, unfortunately, unless somebody came across and then I could take the dog to the airport and meet them at the airport if they come across for an holiday to take a dog back, and then you could take the dog back as hand luggage. Then it works out a lot cheaper. But that's one of the reasons I pulled away from all that, because it was great having trips out to America, you know, being wine and dine, going to the national championships, and people asking you questions, doing training seminars. It was fantastic. Going out there and teaching people.
And the pound to the dollar.
That's it. The pound to the dollar was right for the Americans at that point. And then it changed, and it dried up a bit. But at the end of the day, I'm glad I did it. It was good fun. I wrote about it in a magazine on a couple of occasions. They didn't like my. It's funny because the Americans like open people, honest people. But what they didn't like is me rubbishing about the e-collar, because the e-collar was used a lot more in America than it was over here at that time. It was still used over here, but it was abused over here. And we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the technology to look and see how each of us train. So some guys who came across had the fortunate chance to see that sort of stuff. And when I went across there, I was impressed with some of their methods of trialing, but other parts of it I wasn't so impressed with. And so at the end of the day, it's nice to see how other cultures, other countries work dogs and gun dogs. But to be honest with you, once I've done it, it's like when I went to Sweden, that was the same. It was so nice to meet like-minded people, but who train slightly different. The standard's not quite as good as this country, but they're getting better because they're listening to people in this country who know what they're talking about. How did you transition into full-time training dogs? Any words of wisdom for a new trainer just starting out? Heavily dog training. Well, the problem is I had record shops. I was in the music business. I've sold more records than Elvis. He's sung more records than me, and he's made a lot more money, but I've actually sold more records than Elvis because I've stood there on the front line selling records. And records went out, and my hobby was trialing, was gun dog trialing. So it was just a hobby. And we had a couple of gun dogs. I bought them. I didn't think I was going to trial, and then went to a number of shoots, and everyone liked my dogs, and my dogs were a far better standard than everybody else's. And I was passionate about it. I was hungry. I was young, and everywhere I went, they invited me to bring a gun. And I didn't have a gun because I didn't have a shotgun license. And the only guns I'd ever seen is sawn-offs. They used them in banks in Derby. And they just swing, because you couldn't swing an ordinary gun in a bank or shove it up your jumper and say stand and deliver. So the only people I hung around with, they had sawn-offs. So you know, when I first saw my first shotgun, I thought, shit, that's not a shotgun, that's a rifle. But no, it wasn't. The long barrels on them. And then I got into the shooting. Then I got into trialing. Then I got into judging, and then shit hit the fan because of the cheating, because of the jealousy. And it was the trial world that tried to push me out because I'd exposed a number of people who were cheats. Simple as that. So I moved my hobby into my business because records went out, vinyl disappeared, CDs came in, and CDs were like 15 quid a piece at one point. Now you can't get 50 pence each from in charity shops, can you? Quid or 50p. Now DVDs you can't get nothing for. But when we were selling videos, we were selling DVDs, CDs, tapes. Remember the old tapes? We were selling tapes, 45s, LPs. Some of you people won't even know what they are. And so I had to move, make a decision, because I've been passionate from leaving school and running my own business, and I love that business. But my passion was gun dogs, and so I moved my gun dog training, my hobby, into a business. And it was so busy to begin with. We were having trial person after trial person after trial person dropping dogs off. Some of them people are 8-panel judges now, and they used to drop dogs off to me and say, "Can you finish this dog off? I've got a problem here, Chris. Can you do this? Can you do that?" Because I was known for winning in competition, and I was on a regular basis in the awards. So that's why I turned my hobby into my business. And 30 years down the line, I'm still doing it. Julian Lees. Karen, I hope you're well.
You had a good woman behind you.
See what you won't believe what she's just said. My wife has just said you had a good woman behind you. How does she know about my girlfriend? I have. I've got a cracking woman sitting over there. Sawn off's are good for Clay's open choke. Yeah, exactly. Open choke. You don't miss much with a sawn off, do you? You have to pay to get rid of them. Honest gets you why I'm still here. You can get you here. Can you get an oi yeah? Laugh out loud, Andrew. I only want one of your springers. Haha. It would be lovely, Lucy, wouldn't it? And perhaps we might talk about it and see what we can do to try and help you. But I'd have to look into it. I haven't sold a dog across to America in the last 10 years.
The springers that are here in the US are poorly bred, and the breeders want you to sign your life away.
Do you know what, Lucy? I think that's good talking to a certain extent. I think there are some good dogs out there, but it's really knowing who to deal with. One of the people who might be worth getting hold of, if you speak to me in private, I'll give you his name and that. He's a genuine dog trainer. He's a Labrador trainer, but he'll know people over there with good quality springers or how to get springers out to you. And I can put you on to him. Paul Crocker, Chris, do you still have some vinyl worth a few quid now? No, not very much at all, Paul. I did do at one point, but I flogged them all on. I kept a lot of the collectors. Well, the one thing that I wasn't into, I had a collector's vinyl shop, see, so it was second-hand vinyl and new vinyl eventually, but it was second-hand collector's vinyl. So I used to know all the values of all the records and what you could get for them and all that. And I used to travel to London. I used to go up to London on a regular basis, selling to the big shops in London who sold all over the world. Northern Soul, you can't beat a bit in Northern Soul. Thank you, Jude. Same to you, my friend. Hope you're well. Stephen Wilson. Hi, Chris. Just a litter. Hi, Chris. Just litter of pups. Three-quarter cocker, quarter lab. Would I be able to run in pubs from the pups in working test? Do you know what? I can't think straight. You wouldn't be able to run them in trials, but whether you could run them in working tests, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it should be QC registered. I can't remember about that, to be honest. I'll have to re-look that up. I can't remember Stephen Wilson in that. I think you've got to put the name of the sire in the dam. So I don't think you will, but you may be able to. If it's a non-registered kennel club test, you should. But technically, they should be.
Yeah, no, Stephen, but you can run them. He's done run them in scurries. I don't think you could.
Yeah.
You've got to be KC registered, and they won't be, will they?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, Stephen. The reason I said that is because all the dogs I've ever run in tests have always been KC registered. So I would just fill out the form. But if you filled out, it depends. Some people might fill out the form and it might not put the right things on there. But it depends. So some of those, we've had people breed Labradors by mistake with Springers, and at 8 weeks old, the pups look absolutely like Springers, and then all of a sudden there's a bit more leg in them, or we got a Labrador with a bit more extra color, white in it and stuff like that, and you can see as they get older that they're not Springers, but sometimes you can hardly tell. And some tests are a non-KC registered tests, and there are tests out there that are not KC registered. I think any dog should be able to run in a test, to be honest with you. I think any dog should be able to run in a test. He pays your money, he takes your chance. So tried and test is the same. Trial and test are the same, I think, unless it's non-kennel run test. Dogs must be complete too, meaning it must have its balls. I didn't know that.
You've read off, haven't you?
I didn't know that, Kieran. You've beat me on that one. They're supposed to be injected, but not half the people don't inject them. trial and test. Okay, I wouldn't know 100% about that, to be honest with you. It's been quite a while. Julian Lee, Sue, open invitation to say stay with us up here in North. All the tripe and onions you can eat. Says Love Indy.
I like steak and onions.
She likes steak and onion.
Tripe and onions.
She's a steak and onion girl. Jules, look at me, mate. Look at me. Steak and onion. Steak and onion. Okay. The thing is, there was a dog called. Come on, Chris. Come on. There was a dog running who only had one ball. And he ran in trials. So what happens if you only got one ball? And in Sweden, they won't have pups out of a dog that's only got one ball. Okay, so should we give a squirrel skin to someone who tells us what a dog would?
Was
he called Hitler? We should give a squirrel skin away that what do you call a dog with one ball? Hitler. No. Crescit Christo. Crescit Christo was the dog. That's going back some time now. And he threw some good pups. So the one ball was working. Hey, Kev, I was at the Rodden line last week. I had the most beautiful steak outside on the veranda. You should see it. They've done it up unbelievable, Kev, up there. They've spent some money on it. And it was gorgeous, that steak. It was absolutely gorgeous.
It's missing the egg.
But I didn't have the egg. Lisa, could I have a few quick pointers of advice training that I can start?
Of advanced training.
Could I have a few quick pointers of advanced training that I could start putting into practice, please? Lee, what are we talking about? We're talking about Spaniels, Labradors? What are we talking about?
I'm trying to get that.
Hey, I'm looking here. Could we have a few quick pointers on advanced training I can start putting into practice, please? Well, advanced training is blinds, isn't it? Pushing your dog back on blinds. Advanced training would be directional at a distance. Advanced training would be, having the dog sitting out a long way out, firing something right over his head. He's not allowed to go. He's not allowed to move. You call him back in and then you send him out. So he's missed the mark, but he knows it's out there. And then you get him to hold the area. Then sometimes you'll blow the stop whistle, bring him back in, give him a retrieve somewhere else, then send him back out there. Advanced training is so easy to bring on as long as you do it in stages and you build it up. Kev, bastard.
Lisa was a question earlier was, Chris, how do I get my 20-month-old very driven bitch to switch off and calm down when in the back garden? And you said to him about advanced training, so that's why he's asking.
Yeah, but when you say she's 20 months, I don't know how much you've done with her, Lee, as in advanced. If you've got your sit, your stay, your recall, a good delivery, work on that first. Once you've got that, then your heel work on your heel work. Advanced training would be heel work for me. I mean, so many people put lead work into a dog at a young age because they have to, because of the environment they live in, and they take the dog for a walk to go to the place they want it to mess and exercise. I don't do that. My dogs go in the back of the car, out they go with me, or they go out in the backyard, the shit yard, where we put an area there they can have a shit and we can wash it down, or they go in the field, have a run around, have a shit, and then we do training. We pick the shit up and then we do the training. It's as simple as that. The advanced training, I don't need to train a dog with a lead very much, but then I do train dogs with the lead at some stage. So at the end of the day, the lead goes on later on for me, but that's because of my situation here. Anybody in the situation, and I don't know each individual, some people got to put the lead on the dog at 13 weeks of age and start walking it around with the lead and get it used to at least walking with the lead. Would I be putting obedience heel work into a dog at 13 weeks old? No, but I would be wanting to walk it on a lead and it feel comfortable walking on a lead. So I've got a restraint on it. But at the end of the day, that's suppressing the dog, and that's the price you pay when you have to do that, because it's not natural to put a dog on a lead, is it? And yet the dog you'll soon get used to it, especially if you just drop it over the dog's head and let it walk around with it. So advanced training, to me, is to win a novice trial. You don't need advanced training unless you got yourself in an awkward situation, and that can win you a trial, but it's not normally what wins you the trial. What normally wins you the trial is the dog makes it look so simple. The dog hunts like a demon in front of you, within gunshot. It doesn't matter, it's not got a windscreen wiper action, as long as it's hunting within gunshot and not missing ground. It's covering good, what we call good ground treatment. Up gets a bird, dog stops. It doesn't have to stop automatically, as long as it stops on that whistle. It takes a brave man who's running a 16-month-old dog in a trial not to blow the stop whistle. It means you may have overtrained, or you're a very, very good trainer, because I've never been able to do that. When I don't say they wouldn't stop. I'm saying I don't want to go home without an award. I don't want to go home without a win. And I guarantee if your dog does 3 steps, you're going home and you're not getting nothing. If the judge is an honest judge and he sees your dog make 3 steps, your dog's got to flush and stop until told. Unless it's a sensible judge and your dog's in thick cover and it's punched a bird out and it comes to the edge of cover to watch it away. If you blow the stop whistle, then some judges will knock you because they'll say, I think your dog was going to run in. But actually, a sensible dog would come out of the thick just to look in the direction to say, where do you want me to go? Because if you got a dog in the thick cover and you go, get out, where's it going to go? Unless it's gun-wise. So with a novice dog, you don't need advanced training. So once I've won with a novice dog, then I go and put what we call open standard training into the dog. That means that in opens, you'll have birds shot, you'll be hunting, you'll have birds shot over the other dog, the other side, birds shot over your dog, and they'll stop and they'll send the dog for the bird across the other side first. Your dog's got to sit there. There's got to be more temptation. They'll then bring you across and send you for birds over his side, or send you for a runner a long way out if the judge thinks it's pickable. It's down to the judge, but he'll put you under far more pressure and he'll expect you to be able to handle that dog and show you can handle that dog. Where a novice dog, they don't look for that so much. They just look for a good clean hunt, a contact flush, straight out and straight back. Even in open stakes, they should be looking for straight out, straight back retrieves. The dog doing it naturally, not having handler reliance. But in certain situations, the judge knows the dog's got to be handled because the dog got brought across for a retrieve and someone said it's over there by that big oak tree. So you've got to show you can get the dog to the oak tree. If you can't get your dog to the oak tree, it shows you can't handle it. Then you're going to get knocked. The dog is supposed to be listening to you. So advanced training is all the extra polish you put onto that dog. So advanced training would be stopping the dog at a distance, giving him distractions, throwing dummies over his head, firing shots over his head, calling him back, leave that, fetch that, changing the dog's directional, changing the dog's mindset. He's got to listen to you a little bit more. That way, the dog's still got that natural ability because you didn't suppress it as a young dog, but now you've got the control as well as the natural ability. Now you've got a real good hunting dog. You've got a good working dog, a dog that will listen when told, but a dog that can work it out for itself. And that's what it's about. Anyway, you lot, you've had 13 minutes more than you should have had. You've obviously been enjoying yourself.
There's 2 questions that you can answer.
Some beautiful rabbit ground up here. Stop it, Karen. Stop it.
yeah, rub it in.
Rub it in, why don't you? I've got the battle bus. It's now being camouflaged. We're painting it in camouflage painting. We will be able to go up to the motorway and hide in Scotland if they have the lockdown, and no one will know we're there. We'll just blend off into the background. It's being done on Monday.
2 questions that you can answer. Angela Mead said, what about the girl behaving like a dog? Could she compete in trials? Laugh out loud. Yes, she could.
yeah, but she as long as she's not been spayed, Karen said.
And
she needs a spade on her head.
And Kev said, Sue, book us in for the racehorse for when I'm down. And I said to him, it may be close, Kev. You had
yeah, a few pubs around here closed. I mean, some of them not doing. I'll tell you what we have done. We've been out twice this week, and we've had this half-price meal. Sue's been over the moon. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We've had up to 65, I think, tonight, and it's dropped off to 52 because some of you have gone to bed early. 27 likes. I only wanted 25. You nice people.
Big Barney McGinley says, Chris, I don't comment, I listen all the time. You are a credit to us all, novice trainers.
Big Barney McGinney, thank you very much indeed for your nice comments. Thanks for your time, Chris and Sue. Andrew, thank you, Andrew. Michael Lockland, bollocks to you as well, sir. Have a good time, and if you keep yourself out of that thunder and lightning we got coming, be safe, everybody out there. Be safe. And keep training them dogs, but don't go out if it's too hot. I've got somebody coming here for 2 days from tomorrow. That will be Sean with his little cock and bitch. You've seen him before. And hopefully he'll have a nice trip up here. And we've got rain coming in, I think. That would probably be better for us, hopefully. We need it to cool down. It's unbelievably hot. I did give him the option of not turning up if he didn't want to. But he's keen, so he's turning up, and we'll just make the most of it. And there'll be videos to follow. So another little cocker for you all to see, and let's see if he's improved. Last time he came down, we got the dog retrieving that wasn't really keen on retrieving. Remember him? A little, I think she's golden, isn't she? Golden cocker, I think. Good bollocks to you, Julian Leeds, as well. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in, and I just think you're nuts. Squirrel man. Chris Upton signing off. Thanks a lot, everyone. Be lucky.